Long questions and answers in 60 to 80 words of How the Camel Got His Hump by Rudyard Kipling. Why? Number 1. Why was the camel considered lazy and how did it affect others? The camel was considered lazy because he refused to work and only said humph whenever someone spoke to him. This behavior forced the horse, dog, and ox to work double time to make up for the camel's absence. The other animals became angry and upset, leading them to complain to the jinn. His laziness not only caused trouble for himself but also increased the burden on his fellow animals. Number 2. Describe how the jinn dealt with the camel's laziness. The jinn, in charge of all deserts, listened to the complaints of the working animals and decided to act. When he confronted the camel and heard him say humph again, he used his magical powers to punish the camel. He gave the camel a humph so that he could work without eating for 3 days, the days he had missed. This was a creative way to make the camel responsible without physical force. Number 3. What message does the story convey about responsibility and teamwork? The story teaches the value of responsibility and teamwork. It shows that every member of a group must contribute equally. When one refuses to work, others suffer, as seen with the horse, dog, and ox. The jinn's intervention and the camel's punishment reinforce that no one can escape their duty. The story uses humor and fantasy to convey a powerful message about fairness, cooperation, and the consequences of laziness. Number 4. How did the camel respond to the other animals' requests and what was the outcome? The camel responded rudely and lazily to every animal's request by simply saying humph. He did not offer any help, nor did he care about their extra burden. As a result, the animals complained to the jinn, who then gave the camel a humph as punishment. This hump allowed the camel to work without eating for 3 days, ensuring he could no longer avoid his responsibilities in the future. Number 5. What role does the jinn play in the story? The jinn acts as a wise and magical figure who maintains order in the desert. When the animals complain about the camel's laziness, the jinn listens patiently and takes action. He approaches the camel, warns him, and finally punishes him by giving him a humph. His role is crucial in teaching the camel a lesson and restoring fairness among the animals. The jinn represents justice and responsibility in the story. Number 6. How does the camel's behavior reflect the theme of laziness? The camel's behavior is a clear example of laziness. He chooses to live alone in the desert to avoid work, ignores others' requests, and repeats Hump to show disinterest. His actions lead to increased work for others and highlight the unfairness of avoiding responsibility. The story uses this behavior to develop the theme of laziness and shows how it eventually brings consequences. In this case, the camel's hump. Number 7. Why did the jinn give the camel a hump and how was it useful? The jinn gave the camel a hump to punish him for his laziness and to make him capable of working. The hump stored energy so the camel could work without eating for 3 days, the exact number of days he had missed. It was both a punishment and a solution. The jinn made sure the camel could no longer use hunger as an excuse to avoid his duties. Number 8. Explain how the other animals reacted to the camel's laziness. The horse, dog, and ox were initially polite and asked the camel to help with their work. However, the camel refused every time and said only humph. When they had to work double, they became angry and held a panchayat to discuss the problem. The latter approached the jinn to complain. Their frustration shows how one member's laziness can affect the whole group, causing anger and imbalance. Number 9. How does the story use humor and fantasy to teach a lesson? The story uses humorous elements like the camel saying humph repeatedly and the magical appearance of the jinn to entertain readers. At the same time, it teaches a strong moral lesson about the importance of work and fairness. The idea of a camel getting a hump as a punishment is fantastical but clever. This blend of humor and fantasy makes the story engaging while conveying serious values about responsibility. Number 10. What is the significance of the ending line? He has never yet learned to behave. The ending line suggests that even though the camel was given a hump and started working, he still hasn't changed his attitude completely. It humorously shows that habits were hard to break. This line adds a touch of irony, suggesting that some people or animals might follow rules only because they are forced to, not because they truly understand their responsibilities. It reinforces the idea that true behavior change comes from within.